Thursday, January 22nd.
Hey, today we're here at Arlington Public Works. I'm working here and I'm showing you around my apprenticeship. This apprenticeship is really important to me because it gives you the hand that you will never learn in a textbook. There's certain trade secrets that you'll never learn just by doing notes, reading a book. But also working here especially, I have all the guys here that are able to help me, and just if I have a question on anything, they're always right there to help me. So that's what's just perfect about this place.
There you go.
I've been working really closely with Ryan the last couple months, doing all sorts of different things. In my opinion, the apprenticeships are actually a really great idea because you don't know what the job is like until you actually go out and experience it a little bit, you know, with your own two hands. You know, some people love it and some people don't like it, but it's good to kind of test it out before you're committed to it.
Ryan doesn't know the trick yet. Well, we're teaching him. You use your right arm and sneak past it to the right. And if you pull it out quick enough, you can.
Well, it's good for the body.
You only get some on your hands.
Something like this, you can't just teach someone how to take a tire off, put a tire on, dismount a tire. There's kind of some tricks you learn by actually doing it hands-on, and that's some of the most important stuff here. And he catches on pretty quick.
We signed up for the District 214 Pathways program because we feel that it's important, not just for us, introduce people to what we do as public works so that they see that as a career in the future, but again, to introduce them to the workforce, to get them some life skills, to promote the career, especially as an automotive technician. But yeah, this is our traffic unit, so their job, they maintain all of the traffic signals, the street lights. They're also electricians. They do a lot of electrical work in our buildings and things like that. This is all the standard for all these signs, and he has the ability to build most of these here in-house. I would just like to say I really hope that we can continue this partnership because it's working out well, and I would like to be able to help influence other students in the future with their future endeavors.
I just love the environment here, honestly. Just being here, coming here every day, I'm never dragging myself here to work. I'm here to learn and have a good time. And overall, the guys here give me a good experience. And I'd like to thank Arlington Heights Public Works for giving me this opportunity and being so took me in as one of them and really showed me the ropes of everything. And I really appreciate that.
We're at the 2025 Senior Olympics.
So today, students from some of our LTS classes, Leadership Through Service from Elk Grove High School, came in as a field trip to do some Senior Olympics with the senior citizens.
Yes, Senior Olympics, it was a blast. Oh my God, this was fantastic. Oh my God, we're back in the game, we're back in the game.
We're doing a bunch of different games. My team just finished throwing footballs in bins. We're doing bags, bocce ball, and I think we're also doing Wii bowling, so that's fun.
My favorite part was meeting Rod.
And I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Now that man he's, by the way, if you see his Wii bowling skills, whew, out of this world, okay? And he's a good coach too.
This is great, us to get together and exercise, and these girls and guys that volunteered their time for the high school to help us out. Awesome, I really appreciate this. Just thank you very much, and thank you for your time and all the stuff that you do for us.
I'm just having a lot of fun, and I think this is really nice, and thank you.
And in first place. The Fighting Fedoras.
A big community effort at Arlington Heights today is making Chicago proud. As students at John Hersey High School collected nearly 38,000 food items for local families. Donations will go to 8 area food pantries as many families face those delays in SNAP benefits.
Today we have our annual food drive, which is really exciting. The whole school is here helping out, and the vibes are really high.
I think my favorite part is everyone coming together, even if the people aren't in the SOS class. You see all your friends in their second period just helping with everyone as a whole school.
Our teacher, Mr. Gunther, likes to call it controlled chaos, so it looks chaotic, but our seniors in the SOS class have put so much work into this. We started at the beginning of the year planning, so although it looks chaotic, it's just because there's so many people. But as you can see, everything's organized and everyone's helping out, so it's really cool to see everyone.
I just think it's really special that we do stuff like this and we can get the whole school involved to collect cans for people.
Hi, my name is Tony Rodriguez. I'm the community arborist with Oaklands, and we're working with District 214 today to plant trees all throughout your campuses. One of our main focuses when it comes to working with schools is making sure that students understand the benefits of trees and the benefits that trees have on campuses. So do y'all see this root that's coming out right here? Yeah. Notice how it's nice and thick, and it's a lot bigger than like this one that's growing out of here? Yeah. So this is what we call the first lateral root. So we want this lateral root to be right at ground level, same as the root flare.
It's really cool being out here today because I'm learning a lot about what trees need to stay happy and healthy, and about how to properly create a hole that's the right size for a tree to live in, to make sure that it has a long and healthy life.
This is my dance group.
Whenever we're working with little kids, they love doing this part. So today we're planting 19 trees on the school campus. There's going to be a variety of trees that are native to the area. So we have swamp white oaks, we have some more ornamental service berries, and some smaller trees that are going to be going closer to the building.
I wanted to do this because I wanted to help out my community, and I wanted to get some hands-on experience, especially with planting trees, because you can't really do that every day. And mostly because for FFA, this is really good practice and everything.
All right, so are we done?
No.
Why do you think we're not done yet? Yep, we gotta spread it out, and the root flare is buried right now, right? So let's go ahead and spread out the soil.
I wanted to be a part of this because as an FFA officer, I'm very passionate about plants and agriculture, and I thought it would really be a good opportunity to learn more about trees and planting, because that's not an area I'm super familiar with.
Not only am I an arborist and working with trees, but it's really important for me to be out working with communities and helping bring trees into their communities. So it's really awesome for me to go to travel around a lot to different areas and help these communities get more trees.
I think anyone who's watching this, if they could join your local FFA or just go out of your way to plant some trees, help out the community and the ecosystem.
Today we're here at Prospect High School and like we're going over some really good songs and stuff because I never met any of these people, but we all just came together and we're all singing it. Mr. Music is pretty nice and stuff. He's teaching it really well.
Just that, put your music down.
Teaching is feels like a calling for me, and especially teaching these concepts.
Yeah, you're not setting it down. You're going like this. The storm is passing over. I want that big of a difference. The storm, 1 and 2 and 3 and. The storm is passing over. Yeah. The storm is passing over.
We are performing the oldest and, in my arrogant opinion, best art form and most human art form, and that we're using our human bodies to make art that only exists in the space of time. The most beautiful part of humanity is when we're all together doing something in unison, and so that was the point of today.
Yeah, I'm really excited to hear the final product because like a lot of people here are talented, all of us are talented, and I believe like someone out there is giving us this gift and we're using it to like empower and to also inspire other people, and I hope we learn from each other too and Mr. Music. Mr. Music is really particular with what he chose as a song, with songs, because he chose like songs that are really meaningful, and like for example like Draw the Circle, it's basically kind of like, it brings us together, honestly. I really felt that earlier.
Yeah, I'd just like to thank Miss T and the whole team here for inviting me in to do this. Everybody from the high schools around, and I love, like I said, I'm living my dream, and so I love coming in and sharing this message of music and community with everybody, and I think it was a wonderful day.
Many describe today as inclusion revolution. I mean, this is such a big day.
You really see the students, they get to see how excited they are, and we're going to cut straight to the game.
Marlon Johnson wearing number 58. He's on homecoming court this year, and he puts in the first basket of the game.
Today we have the big game. It's one of the biggest events of the year. The kids love it. It's all about fun and just friendly competition, and the kids all love it.
They're going to try to give it to Alejandro, who puts it in. for a basket.
I mean, you can really hear the crowd here. This is one of the best days of the year, especially if you're a Husky student. This is just great. Dreyer with his third basket already.
The big game.
We're ready? Okay, great. Thank you. I call to order the Township High School District 214 Board of Education Business Meeting for Thursday, January 22nd, 2026. Ms. Marini, would you please call the roll?
Baldino.
Here.
Young.
Here.
Tussling. Here. Fiorito.
Here.
Heineman.
Present.
Sager.
Here.
Kreutzer.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. I need a motion and a second to go into closed session for the purpose of discussing the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees, specific individuals who serve as independent contractors in an educational setting, or legal counsel for the public body, superintendent evaluation, and the third item, collective negotiating matters between the public body and its employees or their representatives, or deliberations concerning salary schedule for one or more classes of employees. Motion and a second, please.
So moved, Chung.
Second, Sager.
Call the roll, please.
Yes.
Sager.
Aye.
Baldino.
Yes.
Tussling. Fiorito.
Yes.
Heineman.
Aye.
Kreutzer.
Aye. We
Motion
are
carries
now in
7-0.
closed session and hope to come back at 7 o'clock. Thank you. Up is the Pledge of Allegiance. Dr. Rowe, do you want to introduce our guests?
I would love to. High school to introduce.
Come on up here. The associate principal at Prospect High School, and have the privilege of working so closely with our associated student body, also known as ASB. What is ASB? Cultural architects of our every night culture.
engaged and empowered. And they're the ones that shape a lot of those events. So I'm going to let them introduce themselves, and they're also going to share one of their favorite events at Prospect achieves that objective.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. My favorite activity that ASB does is the ASB pickleball tournament. This was something that we pickleball, and we ended up getting over 100 kids to come, and we involved some local organizations. The Pickler and Andy's even came and brought frozen custard, so it was a pretty cool experience, and it was it was outside of school, so it was really cool to see everyone come to this activity.
Okay.
Also a junior at Prospect. One of my favorite events at Prospect that we just recently started was an event called Coco, Canines, and Cram. It's basically like a little study get-together that we had in our library to kind of prepare everybody and de-stress them for finals. So we have the Coco, where we offer hot cocoa to everybody as a nice little feel-good drink for everybody to de-stress. We had Canines, kind of comfort everybody to the school environment. And then we had Cramming, which was the studying for finals. So that's probably got to be one of my favorites.
Okay, great.
Hi, my name is Santiago Emiliani. I am a senior, and my favorite activities at Prospect are the PEP assemblies. I think they are really engaging and a great way to dimensify announcements and, yeah, amass the student body.
Hi, my name is Mary Robinson, and I'm a senior. My favorite activity that ASB does is Prospect Gives Back, where all the clubs and sports at Prospect get together on the first Saturday of October in the fall, and we go out to the community and do different service activities.
Oh, very good, very good.
Hi, my name's Leah Viewer, and I'm a senior at Prospect. And my favorite event that we do is Homecoming Week, because we have a bunch of different events throughout the week that promote inclusivity and school spirit. Like we did a trivia night and movie night, and then we have our powder toss at the end, which everyone loves.
Hi, my name's Sarah. I'm a senior at Prospect. My favorite event that ASB did was the sock drive this past November. We collected a bunch of socks for nearby domestic violence and homeless shelters, and it really showed how our school is able to come together because we were able to raise over 1,000 pairs of socks in 3 weeks, I think so.
Cool.
Hello everyone, I'm Sophia and I'm a senior, and my favorite Prospect event is Multicultural Fair. This is a special day of the year where a lot of people can share their culture. Some of the people can show their traditions. Also, we can taste some special foods from these cultures, and I really like this event because I was part of this for 2 years. Thank you.
Fantastic. Okay, board want to stand, please? And who's going to lead us? Okay.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So, does anyone wish to remove anything? Hearing none, can I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda?
So moved, Fiorito.
Second, Chung.
Fiorito?
Yes.
Chung?
Yes.
Bachman?
Aye.
Sager?
Aye.
Thank you. Can I have a motion and a second? Board of Education minutes from January. Open and close. Motion and a second, please. Motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Baldino?
Yes.
Heineman?
Aye.
Chung?
Yes.
Dessling? Yes. Fiorito?
Yes.
Sager?
Aye.
Kreutzer?
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you. Okay, tonight we have a partner recognition. Mr. Mulkey, please.
Thank you. Tonight, we recognize Costello and DeHart Dental Excellence for their valuable support of our internship program. Board President Kreutzer and Board Member Sager, please join me for partner recognition. I'd also like to invite forward Dr. Ernest Costello and Caitlin Manning. Hello. Costello and DeHart Dental Excellence became an industry partner with District 214 Center for Career Discovery in the spring of '24. And over the past 2 years, they have already hosted 15 of our health science pathway interns. Those students have all reported how much they've enjoyed the experience working at Costello and DeHart. And not surprisingly, the practice has become one of our most requested healthcare placements because of their reputation for providing excellent internship experiences. Students consistently talk about how welcoming and kind the entire staff is, always willing to answer questions and real hands-on experience at Costello and DeHart, for example, learning how to mold teeth and sterilize instruments. They have been able to shadow staff and observe many different dental procedures. But beyond the exposure to the more technical aspects of dentistry, students comment upon how the staff treats their patients. They see firsthand what real professionalism and care look like in action. For many of these students, this experience has confirmed their desire to pursue a career in dentistry. We extend our sincere thanks to Drs. Costello and DeHart and their entire team for their generosity and mentorship of District 214 students. Thank you so much. Thank you. Mm-hmm.
Sure, I'll just say a few things. It's truly been our pleasure. I was invited to speak to the Scrubs Club at Hersey. I think it was in maybe the fall of 2023, and I think that may have been what kind of prompted this internship opportunity. I have 2 students at Hersey now. I'm a Hersey alum myself, and just hearing the prospect students talk about everything that they have to participate in, it's great. I mean, I was a proud Hersey alum. I was happy to have my kids coming back to District 214, but the opportunities they have now just make what we had, 30 years ago look like something totally different. So appreciation to all the board members and everybody who put these things together. I have 2 kids in the CNA pathway program right now myself, and I just think it's great. And as far as I'm concerned, I had a lot of great educators, a lot of great mentors. My father was a dentist. And I know a lot of people come out into the field. They do not teach you how to run a business. They do not teach you how to interact with people in dental schools. And I know it's hard as educators. We're always trying to give as much of a real world opportunity as we can, but in a classroom it's really difficult. So the fact that this program was put together and continues to be run so well, as long as you need us, we're going to be happy to be there to support it. So thank you.
He's got a great smile.
Yes. No surprise.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having us. Go Huskies. You got it.
Thanks, Kathy, for coming with. Appreciate it.
Like Chicago, we're happy when any of them win, right? Right.
He's talking about Prospect? Oh, no. Oh. Okay. Okay, no one has signed up for public comment. Next up is Dr. Rowe.
All right, well, at this point, you're gonna give me the to be at this point. This is the mid-year strategic. Walk you through some of semester so far in year 1 of, and as well as back a little bit of how are we use this into the culture around given the challenge, roadblocks that oh, there we go. All right. High level overview of where we are, highlight our progress, preview some of the focus areas for the second half of the year. And as we go through this presentation, I ask that you keep your focus at again, this is year one. We run into bumps every single day, and as you know, bang our heads against the wall. But it's where the good work is happening. And so I'm going to share some of that. I'm going to share the good, the bad, the ugly, some of the positives, and some of the areas and how we're navigating those bumps. As a quick reminder, obviously you're familiar with the plan. It's based around two key documents, the roadmap that has our instructional vision, as well as our aspirational beliefs that we try and hold ourselves to in all decisions that we make, centered around the skills of the portrait of a graduate. There's a new wrinkle that's emerged in Goal 1 that I think you're going to love, based on the portrait of a graduate. I'll get to that in just a moment. It's centered around 4 goals. An instructional goal, a sense of belonging goal, an operational efficiency goal, as well as an innovation goal. I'm going to walk through each one of those goals with you this evening. And just as a quick reminder, the role of the board is a really important one. It's one that sits at the mountaintop in the balcony, a 30,000-foot view looking down to hold us accountable in these conversations, remind us of where we're going if we get ideas or start to veer, as this is our roadmap to improvement and to growth year over year, and continuing to enhance and take our school district from a great school district to an exceptional one. As well as ask questions and flag any concerns that you have so we can provide you with the information you need to feel confident in our path and the work that's happening. So I'll start with Goal 1. And in Goal 1, we established a district-wide instructional vision was the big overarching task. We've clarified expectations around what high-quality instruction looks like is going to be our focus for the year, and then we've focused on strengthening those transitions into and out of District 214. Highlighting some of the work that's been done, it's huge props to Dr. Hubbard and his team. It has genuinely been the focus of the instructional administrators at every time that we're together, which is exactly where we want to go, is when we have the energy and the talents of our instructional leadership team together, having a guiding document of what we should be working on has really garnered a lot of energy and a lot of focus for that team. We've drafted an instructional vision. We have been working on what are the descriptors, what does it mean to begin achieving the skills that we're striving to achieve at a point of graduation. And that point that I said I was excited to share with you is something has emerged from those conversations, which is a portrait of an educator that we'll be able to then begin infusing into our hiring practices of what are the qualities we're looking for in our classroom assistants or CMA members or teachers or administrators to ensure we're hiring the people with the right skill sets and mindsets, maybe more importantly, to guide our students and our district forward. So I don't have examples of those because they are very much in the iterative process. The instructional vision, as well as the portrait of an educator, has gone through administrative review, still getting feedback, and we're on the verge of sending it to some staff groups for feedback and continued iteration. The second bullet point is deep conversations around maybe the most challenging work, which is aligning the district. As you know, we've valued site-based leadership for quite some time, and over the years, differences in how we approach education have emerged. And this was the number one aspect that our community asked us to prioritize, is alignment across our six comprehensive high schools. And so what that means is aligning curriculum, identifying where common learning experiences will be, what assessments should be common across the district, what rubrics in terms of essays, what common learning experiences should we be, even down to the debates of should we all read the same book, should we value lit circles, should we have the same type of writing assessments, so that we can then measure across the district, are our learning experiences, are we all growing at the same rate? Are there pockets of excellence that we can learn from at one school that might help another? And so then selecting resources. So we've made, one of the decisions we made as a team that will be a part of that socializing process is, chemistry is chemistry in all 6 of our high schools. We should use the same resources in all of the chemistry classes. And so what Dr. Hubbard is building with his team is a curriculum review cycle where we'll be evaluating the standards alignment and making decisions on the instructional experiences, or the learning experiences, the assessments, selecting materials, and then the continual review in a multi-year process. So that is coming back to the February admin workshop for continued review and refinement. And then as we go through the spring semester, we'll push that out to PLCs and building instructional teams where teachers will be able to provide their feedback. And by the end of the year, we'll have a document that we'll prop up and use as our focus. Strengthening the freshman registration and scheduling process. As you know, we have created a master scheduling team. It's a little bit of Goal 2, Goal 1 overlap that is ensuring that we're registering and assigning classes and building our schedules in a very similar way across the district. College Now is launching. We had the orientation either just happened or it's coming up in a week or two with Harper. So that's on the verge. As you know, we had tremendous interest in District 214. We're excited about where that will go. And we've completed the professional learning audit, which is how is our professional learning aligning to the desired outcomes that we're after. So what that audit is doing is aligning the professional learning experiences against where the instructional vision is going to ensure we're providing the right PD to help our staff focus their energies in the direction that the district has set forward. And then Laz and the foundation team have starting to build our alumni database. They invested a lot of time and energy and really excited about that progress. Any questions on Goal 1 before I move on to Goal 2? If not, we can certainly, as they pop up, we can come back at the end. Goal 2. In this area, we focused on the sense of student belonging and attendance, social emotional learning implementation, major priority, and then stronger transitions and family partnerships. So I'm excited to share, on the next couple of slides, I actually have the data to show the progress that we've made on the attendance front, but maybe the most important part is the consistent processes that are been implemented across the district. Attendance intervention teams at every single building. Their solution finding teams are meeting in a very similar structure. Teams, Mary Kate meets to ensure that consistency. Because if we start looking at look like a whole lot, and you read that actually right to left, but it's over a percentage point increase of a better average daily attendance on a daily basis. Chronic absenteeism also reads right to left, but it goes in the opposite direction, and we want it to go, the graphs to go down. We've seen a solid decrease in chronic absenteeism, which is what we want. This is, as you know, a really difficult needle to move. But through consistency across the buildings and accountability that started with Kara and the associate principals of student services, they've set the expectation and they're meeting the mark. And this is again, it's first semester data only, not year to year. And then in terms of chronic truancy, we've seen a little bit of a bigger swing in the right direction. So attendance is all heading in a really, really positive direction. Excited to share. All right, we talked about Trusted Adult a little bit. Trusted Adult is an Infinite Campus add-on that allows our students to identify an adult in the building that they say this is my person. It's more of if a student is in a personal moment, and with that student, it's easy for to know who to go to for a particular student. The focus this year has been on identifying the students who did not identify someone last year and meeting with those students one-on-one to help them understand our why, understand the reason for this, and help them try and find someone. If they don't have that, then we can also alert their teachers they're looking for one. Let's make some additional attempts to form a real connection with these students. Our ruler training, as you know, we've adopted Yale's Center for Emotional Intelligence, their ruler program, as our social emotional learning curriculum. We've completed 2 rounds of that training. Some teachers even more. I attended the second wave on the Institute Day right after winter break with I think like 60 or 70 other PE teachers and related service personnel. It was really good. Alvin Lewis led that group. I know Kara led another group. And this is our curriculum. It's beginning to be implemented this month across all freshman PE courses. We're actually planning to turn our next board workshop into and give you the 2-hour ruler training. So it's really important if we're going to commit to this, that it becomes systemic and it starts with this table. We all have to be on board. So that way we understand the lingo, you understand the language that's being used and the why. And even if you're never in a position where you have to apply it, I think you'll walk away and maybe choose to just to understand where you are and when the emotions rise from time to time as they do in life. And then finally, we expanded 8th grade articulation for families, and Kira added a few events from articulation events with our feeder and special education student services team members. We're really investing in understanding what they're getting into when they're here so that handoff becomes smoother. In a lot of times, there's this fear of going to high school, and we want to add on supports for students, especially students that have special needs. And when you add on those supports as they're getting older and going into high school, we're trying to give independence. There's a little bit of fear, and sometimes it's the big bad high school is going to be tough on you and it's not going to be easy. When all reality is, we are wrapping these students in every bit as much support and love and care as the elementary districts do. And we want our families to know that. It shouldn't be a scary thing, but it is. But I think increasing our knowledge and know-how, not only was it going to save us some dollars, is sometimes the additional supports are costly and they're not necessary. But more importantly, we want our families and students to be confident in coming that they know they've got a great partner in District 214. And then a special education facilitator have been attending those 8th grade transition meetings to help turn the temperature down if they're in the nerves, but then also just be able to explain how seamless that transition can be. Any questions on sense of belonging there? Yeah, Frank.
I'm going to so last night, sorry, nobody here. Last night at the Buffalo Grove PTC meeting, Jeff was not present, but their PTC president mentioned the absenteeism and freshmen and sophomores or whatever. Definite signs of improvement. One was kind of neutral, like Switzerland, and then the fourth one was the senior class, and the senior class was down. So I was wondering, do we have that type of information at the other 5 schools as well? And if we do, if we see a pattern, is it some way we can look at it and say, I wonder what's going on with, say it's the seniors. We'll just hypothetically say it's the seniors, and 4 of our schools say have senior problems where they don't go to school as much as they should. So is that something that we can use to possibly?
Sure, absolutely. We meet as a district-wide attendance team, and then there's an attendance committee in each of the buildings, and that's definitely something we can bring up at the next.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I do attend a lot of the PTC meetings at the different schools, and that's the first one that I heard that type of detail at that level to say, okay, well, maybe if the other schools had this information, maybe if there's some correlation between the schools that maybe, yeah.
Sure.
Okay, thank you, Kara, I appreciate that.
I've seen that before, how it just goes down when they get to senior year. This attendance, I think, Dr. Hubbard, wasn't it Wheeling last year where you increased the number and it didn't go up at all, right?
Yeah,
You know what I'm talking about?
With some significant work, and this is some data that Dr. Rojas shared numerous times with almost nearly a percentage point increase, just under a percentage point increase. It equated to 2,000 more 5,000 more classes attended. And so 5,000 more periods attended.
That's right.
And so I think that to move the needle with respect to attendance, it looks on a graph to be incremental, but it's really, really large steps, and it has a huge impact on students, obviously their attendance, but more importantly, their grade and their sense of belonging, which is really the aim of the district.
Yeah, and I appreciate these graphs. And then I have a question, I don't know if it's chronic absenteeism or chronic truancy. If a student is hospitalized, does that count against one of these? No. Okay, and I can't read it, it's too small. What does the state say is a chronic absent student? Is it
More than 10%.
10%, 18 days or something like that?
Yes,
Throughout the
that's
year?
right.
And truancy, what's that?
Truancy is,
I guess I'm not understanding the difference.
One is unexcused.
right, truancy would be when students are not called out.
Right. So truancy measures unexcused absences. Absenteeism measures students that are absent for any reason.
Oh, okay,
Excused and unexcused.
good. And ruler training, everyone will get ruler training this year?
No,
Or-
not everyone. Right now, it's the PE
PE,
teachers that will be
right.
delivering the curriculum, and then our student services, related
Teams.
service providers. Yeah, so all of
Okay.
our student services folks.
Right.
And I appreciate that each school has their own unique way of improving attendance. Am I correct? Yes.
Well, we're working
I'm not sure if it's a
together
unique
to
way. It's
try
a-
to be
right.
consistent, but yes, we're supporting students in a positive way. District-wide, we're sending out positive attendance improvement letters to families. We're doing a lot of things district-wide, but yes, there are things happening in each building. There are teams, the dean teams are competing to see who does the best. They're doing a lot of creative things within the buildings as well, which is great.
I actually met with Mr. Fierro, to your point, met with Mr. Wardle yesterday just for a regular check-in, and he walked through some of their mid-year school improvement data with me, and they had 5,000 more classes attended in the fall with their freshmen and sophomores,
Yeah.
which is their focus group, and it doesn't move it very much, but it's moving in the right direction.
That's the point I wanted to make, from what Alva asked and what Brad answered, is that when you look at these, especially our public that sometimes can be critical of us, or just the public school system in general, you sit there and go, well, it's like not even 1%. But realistically, we're not really focusing on what really that 1% or that 0.7% represents. And maybe that is what should be in some of these graphs, is by highlighting that this improvement is 5,000 more periods attended.
A footnote.
A footnote, well, it's got to be more than a footnote,
but-
because that could get lost too, but it really needs to be a highlight to say, hey, okay, it's only 0.8%, but that 0.8% represents the fact that we have 5,000 more classes attended by students. And to me, that's a big number, and it does represent something.
Well, actually, if I could, I'll take that point in a different direction, because it can be even more personalized than that. I was meeting with Dr. Kelly earlier this week for a check-in, and he shared a student success story from Elk Grove. A student that freshman year was failing all of his classes, in with the wrong group. The attendance team and his behavior interventionist group, the dean group, latched in, and he's attending classes and has all A's. So it's not just always about the 5,000 more classes attended. It's redirecting a student on a positive path, and then beginning to gain confidence in themselves and taking ownership of their future. That's where the win is, and that's not going to find itself in a percentage on a chart.
Yep.
It results in graduation rates
That's
as
right.
well.
That's right.
I mean, that's ultimately, we want
Absolutely.
successful graduates. And so every single fraction of a percentage point is additional students graduating from the district.
Without a doubt. Great point.
Okay.
All right.
Yep.
Okay. Goal 3 is our operational efficiency goal. And you probably see this one more frequently than anything, because a lot of the items that you've been approving lately are directly related to this. So we're focusing on the District 214 way in Goal 3A, improving our operational efficiency and transparency, which is, do more and spend less because we're doing it in a more efficient manner. And then strengthening systems, which has been our primary focus this semester in terms of this work. So some of the alignment and examples of the alignment, certainly not all encompassing. There's a big one, there's a lot here, but I mentioned the master scheduling earlier. This is where this comes back from goal 1 and goal 2 and is a focus on goal 3. That master scheduling team, this is also one of the frustration points as we have intentions of taking registration to an online, the website that we've created and shifting it over to Infinite Campus. And there's a lot there behind the scenes that has made that work slower and a little bit messier because of some of the legacy systems we have to correct. So good progress, it's just not going to happen on the timeline that we had hoped for. It's going to be a little bit longer because we don't want to rush it. As you know, the new website has launched. I use the chat feature or the bot feature every time I go on there, and the search feature, especially Elk Grove, who's always the one I hear it from, does not pull Prospect Athletics when I'm looking for the Elk Grove basketball schedule. So that's a major move forward. And I know Mr. Maggi has worked a lot on that with our new partner Apogee, which has been really positive. And then athletic uniforms is on here because it tells an interesting story, just as an example of operational efficiency. Mr. Yuli's worked out with BSN, which is an athletic gear provider, that if we buy Under Armour uniforms through BSN for all of our sports, we kind of like your credit card points. You develop points in their system that we then can use to reduce the cost of the next round of uniforms that we buy. So because we're doing things through a similar system, we're ultimately going to reduce the overall cost, and all of our students will have a regular rotation of new uniforms on the cycle that they should, instead of having to rely on fundraising at each individual school to give them the uniforms and equipment that they need. So we've centralized a lot of that purchasing power. And then intra-district transportation really comes down, we're using cabs less and using our white buses more. So it's saving us dollars and transporting students when a course may not be taught at their high school, but they can attend in person at another high school. Some major systems underway that you've seen a lot of. Obviously tonight on our consent agenda, we're hoping that when you hopefully approve that, we'll make the transition towards Skyward away from Infinite Visions formal. The expansion of Red Rover, you heard from a public commenter actually at the last meeting, and she was just about 2 or 3 steps ahead of where we're going to go. As we rolled out Red Rover and as we're beginning to sunset the use of a legacy system, it's been a slow rollout. And so we've continued to increase use of Red Rover for hiring and onboarding, and that will continue to grow and expand into some of the areas that she was asking us to investigate just for point. Business process review, Dr. Attaway is investigating a more equitable way of funding our school budgets. He's got a prototype that we've been discussing that hopefully by the end of the year we'll be ready to roll out, that I think that you'll be very pleased with. But also this is, how do they build their individual budgets from a zero-based mindset of not, I have this amount of money, what am I going to spend it on, but what did I spend this year, and how do I build backwards to ensure I get what I need, and if they have a request, there's a process to go through that. And then obviously you see, the records retention, you just approved, I think it was last month, to shift the Forest View and Arlington High School records online in terms of storage instead of keeping them. So there's obviously, as a part of our board meeting, that final bullet, you see the monthly financial report as we're tracking against budget, just to keep that very transparent and show the progress that we're making. Any questions on operational efficiency? No? Okay. Moving on into goal 4, which is innovation in facilities. Our focus this year has been on creating structures for responsible innovation, and then listening first, approach with our community on our facilities planning. So we've talked a little bit about the Innovation and Change Committee, high interest from staff and a couple of board members that have been on that committee that have talked about guardrails, how do we want to scale innovation, and then Katie Page in our instructional technology role has been focused on district-wide artificial intelligence professional learning, developing some guardrails as well as a framework of responsible use of artificial intelligence in the classroom setting. So those are being socialized, aren't quite ready for prime time, but we're working on rolling those out. as well as partnership with the Foundation for many grants for some innovations in the classroom. Our community engagement process that we were engaged in throughout the fall. We got a lot of very positive and strong feedback. We're in the phase of refinement at this point. We listen to our community, and when we begin phase 3 in late March or early April, we'll be able to, I believe our community will see that we've absolutely listened to the feedback that they gave us, and our conversation will be narrowed and very, very specific about what the needs are so that the conversation can continue down the path that they've asked us to go. And then finally, the final bullet point is one that I'm actually really excited about is, I talked about in all of my presentations, the one-arm band at the desks in the classroom. We want to refresh our classrooms. We really invested in this. And we've launched a furniture pilot program in our buildings. And in 2 classrooms in every single building, they have more modern, flexible seating. And teachers were able to sign up and volunteer to be in that pilot classroom and then in a lottery. And if they were chosen, they're getting a modern, flexible seating classroom that they can play with, they can decide if they like it, and then other teachers can come visit. And the whole idea is we then decide, we have a range of 3 or 4 classroom prototypes of this is the type of seating that the district will purchase. Teachers visit it, decide which one fits your style and what you'd like your classroom to be, and then we can budget for it, and when it's your building's turn and your classroom's turn, you can pick and choose what style you'd like in the classroom. So trying to increase our staff voice while refreshing some of the furniture in our classrooms. Questions on goal 4? All right, as we move on, just kind of what do we set out to do is this year is really about implementation. Establishing routines, how do we infuse the strategic plan into our day-to-day operations. I feel good about where we are in terms of the process. It's messy work on a day-to-day basis, but it's supposed to be. We run into that pretty regularly, and I have to commend this team that's sitting up here with you as well as the principals because they've been leaning into the mess. And that's the only way to get through it is to work through it. So our priorities are really embedded into everything we do. From the board agenda to our meeting structures in district, we are focused on aligning our work to accomplish these goals. We see the teachers engaged in the conversations. When I'm in buildings, I'm getting questions about goal 1 and when are we going to see it. There's a little bit of excitement about the feedback portion, and then as I said, staff engagement is strong, and year 1 is right where it should be, I think, as we navigate through. So I mentioned kind of already, we go through this process where things get a little messy, and they're called stock takes. And what happens is each goal gets a month of the semester, and they present to superintendency and principals, what are we working on? What's the progress? Where are the roadblocks? And what feedback do I need to move forward? And that's really our opportunity to nitpick, to ask questions, to understand so that there's a shared understanding across all 4 goals, as well as have you thought of, or it gives me the opportunity of I'd like to see us investigate this or invest more here or push this faster or slow down here. And we've only done 1 round, so after 1 round they'll definitely get tighter and more. I can probably honestly roll our sleeves up a little bit messier as we kind of rumble through it. But I've been pleased with the way that it's gone, and I think that things are going exactly where there should be. There is natural tension. The way we've always done things is a phrase we hear. I'm hearing it a little bit less, and I want to hear it less and less. But the roadblocks are expected, but we're navigating them. And I think that, I mentioned the stock takes already, but what I want you to walk away with is year 1 is foundational. We're focused on process. We're focused on system, as well as kind of navigating some of the mess. But I want you to know we are on track. And what you'll get at the end when we do our year 1 reflection is much more detail and very specific outcomes, as well as anything that's a specific percentage or measure. You'll see that, but you'll also have supporting evidence of how we've achieved all of these so that to give you the confidence that you need that you can either ask for more information or clarification or the confidence that we're headed in the right direction. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Board members? Go ahead.
I don't have a question. My comment is on goal number 3. And it's really the first bullet point because it seems like the one thing that has become rather apparent is that consistency. The master scheduling was where some schools had a deadline at this date, and because they had difficult for the technical team. I think that's one of the things that is that we really need in a lot of areas to have our schools all be on the same page, because if we don't, we're going to consistently get pushback from parents and other stakeholders who say, well, why is that school doing this when my school's doing that? And it just doesn't, it's not a good look sometimes. And I do agree that each of our schools is different, and sometimes you might have to have a little bit of differences, but as we saw tonight in the student thing, when they talked about the earned honors, and you had kids from the other schools going, what are they talking about? So, yeah, so to me, no question, I just want to say, I love the fact that operational alignment, but it goes deeper than that with being consistent throughout our schools. Thank you.
Well, and that consistency comes from, athletic directors and APAOs in the weekly meeting that Mr. Yulee has with them, where they share an agenda of what should we be focused on. The weekly dean meetings that Mrs. Kendrick is having with them, and then I said that the counselors, there's consistency and support on this team, but then it also comes from the principals. The principals have agreed and leaned in and have developed a really, really strong trust among the group. And I believe it's a really strong team, and Kate has joined that weekly PLC in terms of what we call it the mini deck of the mini district executive council, where they are just navigating problems that don't need to come to, not problems, but projects or challenges that don't need to come to the full district executive council that they can work out on their own, and then they can move a little faster. So we're finding some ways to increased collaboration. They had one today, actually. We're here a good chunk of the day, but the trust among the team is vital, and I couldn't be happier with the team that we have assembled.
Board members? Yep. Go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Dr. O. And to Vice President Fiorito's point, when you talked about, Dr. O, the athletic uniforms and Mr. Yulee and building that relationship with BSN, and that's really, it's a matter of equity, right? So that, and just the thought of one school not being able to fundraise to the point where and another school is, so I think that's wonderful. I had a couple quick comments and then a question. So I really appreciate all the work and the commitment that's written into our strategic plan about the relationship with our sender schools. And just aligning and thinking through what is it going to take to help our incoming freshmen be successful? Like, how can we prepare them all the way from the freshman registration to the collaboration we have with the sender districts on math curriculum. So I think that's fantastic. I'm always so happy that, and I see some really great work there. And I also appreciate your slide with the board's role, because I think, and I'm speaking to myself, this is definitely an area where it would be easy to inadvertently step off that balcony to the dance floor and try to direct from there. So I do appreciate you reminding us that, it's about governance and accountability. So I thought that was great. It was a great reminder. My question is, so I appreciate on the website that we list our strategic goals and our metrics. I would love, as a next step, if we could report milestones as they're being achieved. So one idea is Could we do maybe a strategic plan dashboard where as we're achieving milestones, we do have some charts up, or we do report on, this is where we're at, this is, the progress that we're forecasting, just as a way for our community to know, look at what District 214 is achieving. It's a great way to build, transparency and open those doors.
Well, I would just say we do too. And I think that's a great next step for us to begin investigating. Not having, and this is no excuse by any means, but not having had a strategic plan, our focus has been on implementation. But we will absolutely investigate that. I think that is a great next step for us. And our partners actually just sent us a communication celebrating a dashboard that they built with a district not far from here. So we'll do a little bit of research and come back on that. Good call.
Board members, Ms. Baldino.
I was just going to comment that, as I was reading through this in preparation for the meeting and thinking about where we're at this early stage, the emphasis on building kind of the strategic systems, right? This is systems work. It is transformational, and it doesn't happen overnight, but it is exciting to see signs of progress. And I agree with Dr. Chung that it would be wonderful to do some kind of a report out. I love that we're doing this. I'm also cognizant of how many people are never going to see this because we don't get like super high views on these meetings. But I would love to see something on our district website that we could point people to so that they could check in on this as well. Where I think a lot of this work is leading, and I see this theme throughout all of the goals, is a more efficient district. And efficiency really helps deliver excellence, so I'm super excited about some of the outcomes I think we can expect. So.
Thank you. And I'll start investigating the dashboard and Patrick and I will build a plan on how to get there. Good call.
Thank you. Anybody else? Dr. Sager.
Yeah, so thank you. I know it's a mid-year of the first year report, right? So a lot of it is designing these structures and talking about what we're going to do as we're starting to do it. And I just wanted to ask, you mentioned it slightly, what the role of teachers will be in helping build that aligned curriculum, because these are the folks who have been across our buildings. They may have slightly different ways of doing things, but they may also, collaborating together, have a way to build out that aligned
Sure,
structure.
I'm happy to talk a little bit about that, and I may tag in a friend over here, but if you think about reviewing the curriculum review cycle as a vital point, and how that curriculum review cycle, at least how we've kind of talked about it, would be led by administrative facilitators and our division heads for that subject area, but then teacher representatives from every single building that meet on a pretty regular basis, talk about standards alignment, what does that mean, and then report back to the building for feedback. And there's just that continued feedback loop. And I don't know if you want to, if I'm hitting on that, or if there's anything that you would want to add.
I would
but
just add
the
that-
team would be pretty comprehensive with teacher representatives from assessment, textbook adoption, all of that the teachers are vital in that process. It's not done without them at all.
Yeah, absolutely. We're starting to socialize the vision that we came up with and the portrait of an educator and the 8 high-impact instructional strategies that we identified. That has been through an admin review. That's been through we called it a design team and then a refined team, and that was our district-wide TLFs, which are our teaching and learning facilitators, our instructional coaches. And then we just had our first meeting at Wheeling High School earlier this week where we met with all of their PLC leaders and department chairs in the building and presented where we were at. So, and we gave a preview in terms of the curriculum review cycle that really is going to be built and designed at the admin workshop on February 10th. And our plan then is to then subsequently bring it to the buildings for input and feedback. And really the leaders will be the division heads in the buildings, but really the PLC leaders. When we identify that Algebra 1 is going to be put into the cycle, there's a pre-work part of the cycle, and then there's going to be 4 stages that become cyclical. And the PLC division, the division heads along with the PLC leaders will really champion that work in their PLC time on Thursdays. And we started to talk about that with them, with Wheeling, and get some feedback. And it was really, really great to hear as they saw a preview of what's coming. Chemistry teacher said, well, we already have a line. We already use the same assessments. And the English teacher said, we already use the same rubrics for our right. So they're seeing that we are moving toward alignment, but there has been some work in years past and in recent months this year, knowing that that's upcoming. Some of them have taken charge to do some of the work in advance.
And just to continue on the point of teachers being sort of the front lines for our students, when we have teachers or staff members who are identified as a trusted adult, or we're working on these sense of belonging, is there a way to bring meaningful professional development to staff members around those issues in particular? Because you're becoming a teacher, right, in your college class.
Yeah.
That's a great point, and we actually are working really hard as a student team. We have a lot of really, really amazing experts across our district in all areas, but we identified things that our student services teams wanted to professional development around this year, and the experts from across the district have become our leaders in those areas, and they're providing professional development on days that we've identified across the district as specific to student services supports in professional development, and so that is one of them in how we're supporting our staff members. So we're working as student services teams to be able to provide that training for our trusted adults so that they're able to feel comfortable in those situations. And we have, in all buildings, called on trusted adults at different times when students were struggling. And we bring in the staff member because that's who the student feels most comfortable with. But we absolutely continue to have the student services team members with that trusted adult when they're working with the students, so that we're modeling what that would look like or could look like, and certainly want to make sure our staff members are as comfortable as possible before we would ever expect them to take that on their own. But yes, that is something that we've been asked for, and we will continue to use our experts across the district to help us with that.
All right, thank you.
Okay, so, I just sitting here thinking it's almost 4 years ago that we were interviewing for a new superintendent, and I can clearly remember that we asked each candidate, we want a strategic plan, can you do that? And they all said yes. And at our self-evaluation, just before you came on board, we said, where's our strategic plan? And well, of course, we had to wait for a year. So here we are, and I remember Mr. Heineman, I'm not calling you out to be bad, but I remember your comment being, you make a strategic plan, you put it on the shelf, and nobody does anything. Remember that? Yeah. So I don't think that's happening, Mark? No. No, so I'm just really happy that this is happening. And it's been a long time. Like when I went with Dr. Rowe to all the parent meetings, I said, the last one was 1988, and none of us were around then. And I'm just really happy that we're really moving forward with this, and I really appreciate these half-year updates because it shows that we're not putting it on the shelf, we're actually implementing it, and I know this is hard work. I know this is hard work. This is something probably nobody in the district has ever done, but I appreciate the in-depth update, Dr. Rowe. Oh, go ahead, Bill. You got your...
There's a certain amount of trust that goes with what we're doing. And you're right, we looked at Dr. Rowe for strategic planning, but we're trying to turn the St. Mary around, if you will. At the same time, we're trying to do the decks from the bottom all the way up. Mm-hmm. Getting reports and getting a whole bunch of things, that there's a certain amount of trust that goes with the man who's here that's going to run it. And if you don't trust him and the team that he's put together, we've got a problem. I trust him. I trust we're going to turn the boat around, and we're going to build the decks, and we're going to get a new flag up and everything else. So as we move forward, I feel confident in you.
Appreciate that, means a lot.
Thank you, board members. Okay, I hate to say this, but anything else, Dr. Rowe?
No, no, not at all. We're ready to go.
Okay, so board member updates. Mr. Dustling, do you want to start?
Do I have to talk again? Yeah, one of the things I want to mention, I attended a number of things, but one of the ladies, young ladies that was here tonight, mentioned from Prospect. I was at that. It was, they filled the field house with students from various countries. It was really amazing. The other one, last Sunday, January 11th, I was up at the BG Cheering Invite. I was there all morning, started at 8 o'clock in the morning, and went till, I think, 1 or 2 in the afternoon that I was there, and then it went on after that. But there were 141 schools there. If you can imagine all the buses, the whole field house, or the gym was full on both sides all day. How Buffalo Grove pulled it off with all the students is absolutely amazing. It went on till probably 6, 7 at night. And final thing was Wildstang had their kickoff with the robot that revealed that they're going to have that was here in this room on the Saturday, on the 10th, and it looks like it's going to be a good year for them. Thank you.
And don't forget the Midwest Regional here at Forest View. Ms. Baldino.
Yeah. I was able to attend Wheeling High School's production of Ride the Cyclone, which went to state. It was pretty incredible. An actual musical I wasn't familiar with, which is amazing if you knew my kid. And it was, the production values were some of the highest I've ever seen in any high school production. It was absolutely incredible. The acting was amazing, and every lead had an incredible singing voice as well. It's not an easy musical at all. It's difficult material to sing, and it was fantastic. So great job to all of our schools that went to state for theater. Also was able to attend the Honors Musical Festival, and it was, as usual, amazing. As somebody who played music in high school myself and didn't have access to those kind of opportunities, it was just, it's always so incredible to see those students get the benefit of absolutely top-notch directors and that kind of a special experience. And they were doing it before school was back in session. So that was also really cool. And then the last thing was last weekend, some of us were able to attend the Martin Luther King Jr. Remembrance Dinner, which is one of the things that we are a community partner for and a sponsor for. And it was really moving, and it was very fun to dance with the Supreme Court Justice. I thought that was pretty great. She gave a great speech too, but yeah, she was out dancing. Thanks.
And she said, invite us to your school.
That's absolutely true, yes.
Good. I'm like, because she said it, and I'm sitting next to Patrick Moggy, and I said, we got to invite her to our law pathways. I mean, absolutely, she was a great speaker.
She was a great speaker, and she was really enthusiastic about the Harper students that were there as well.
So,
yeah.
You are inviting her. This is good. Good. Mr. Fiorito, please.
I will just touch upon the one thing that Bill kind of mentioned. It was my first time attending the cultural fair at Prospect High School, and I did send off a email to Greg Minter and Frank Marandola. I was really impressed with the spirit of the student body. I was really shocked. As I said tonight at the student thing, I saw girls and boys wearing cultural outfits that I would never have, especially high school kids. I would never thought they would be wearing that in school. And it was really interesting to see all the different booths representing all kinds of different cultures, even religion and sexuality. And I thought that was impressive as well. But like I said, the enthusiasm and the spirit of Knight Nation was phenomenal. And it just left me with a really good feeling. Being there only during a lunch hour for 15 minutes, I just enjoyed seeing kids that were naturally happy. And the other thing that I also was observant of was I saw very few kids on their phones. And when you have an event like that, it must mean something for kids to stay off their phones. So very proud of all the Prospect people for what they did. Thank you.
Dr. Sager?
Thank you. So I just wanted to add on top of the Wild Sting release date, which was in this boardroom and very exciting, there was also the first Lego League regional held here the month prior, where it was elementary students doing these challenges with little programmable Lego-based robots. And that was very exciting to see because a lot of the folks running it were the students from the Wild Sting program. And so a lot of our students serving as mentors for younger students. And it was wonderful to see and just watch, 5th through 8th graders getting their feet wet in terms of programming and learning about robotics. I attended the Buffalo Grove High School Winter Celebration at Charlie Brown Christmas, which was very creatively done. It was wonderful to see the combined band, orchestra, choir all work together and tell a Charlie Brown Christmas story in a live performance. It was very exciting. I attended the Honors Music Festival. I was really appreciative of the guest conductors who came in and really worked with the students. They worked with them for a very short amount of time, but they're such excellent students that they are able to sort of incorporate everything together in just what's essentially a few days. And the guest conductors did a really good job, I think, inspiring the students and spending time with them, talking to them about what it may be to reach the next level. Let's see. Today, I attended, along with Mr. Attaway, the NSSEO Facilities and Finance Committee meeting. I just wanted to alert, we didn't have an NSSEO board meeting, governing board meeting this week. There was an operational board meeting, the very first operational board meeting this month. But the one thing that came up at the Facilities and Finance Committee meeting is there's now a rule that non-private therapeutic day schools are eligible for reimbursement of some of the tuition, which had previously only been limited to private schools. But that's a new rule in Illinois, but there's a wrinkle in that ISBE sets some tuition limits, and we don't know what those are until July, right? And so we're building the NSSEO budget, so this is a new wrinkle, and so there may be some interesting hiccups in the NSSEO budgeting process around the tuition amounts we pay, because there's a limit to what can be reimbursable as tuition, but that may be, there may be a wrinkle there. There was a lot of questions that are not answerable at this moment, but the budget will be built out as usual with the normal tuition process, and there may be tweaks that come that wouldn't have been needed in the past. This is the first year doing it, and it's an iterative process. It'll hopefully get smoother in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Chung?
Yes. So I have a couple things. First, earlier this month, our district had 3 teams participate in the Special Olympics regional basketball tournament. So the Huskies, the Lady Vixens, and the Falcons all had tournament games, and I'm excited that the Lady Vixens and the Falcons are moving on. They're advancing to state, which will be held in March at Illinois State University. So congratulations to Nicole McCormick, their coaches, Lori, Steve, and Dr. Sager mentioned, and the game reveal, I know Member Dustling mentioned. I agree with everyone what they said about the Honors Music Festival. It was phenomenal, and the winter celebration. So yes, that's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. You had something to add, Dr.
All right, he sparked the thought of something I forgot to add. Mark your calendars for Friday, February 6th. The District 214 basketball, Special Olympics basketball team will be playing Barrington High School's team in their own version of the big game. And Dr. Winkleman and I, Barrington's superintendent, are going to have a halftime challenge, 3-point shooting contest, but there's a wrinkle, and the wrinkle is that our students will get to tell us how we're going to shoot the three-pointer, like one-handed or behind the back or something silly. So, but the point is at our February meeting after that, the loser will be wearing the other school district's garb at the board meeting. So let's hope I'm not wearing a Barrington 220 shirt during our February 26th board meeting where we have a self-evaluation. So hopefully he'll be wearing District 214 things at his, but a fun way just to get involved with our kids at a cool event. So February 6th at Barrington High School if you're interested.
At Barrington High School? Oh, okay. Okay, so, yes, I attended a lot of the events that other board members attended, so I'm not going to go over those. But I went to my first association meeting down in Springfield as vice president, and I'm also on the core planning team for, guess what, their strategic plan. They've never done a strategic plan. So, yeah, it's like, oh, another strategic plan. Okay, so we had our first Zoom meeting yesterday, but we're meeting in person in Springfield in March, and then I think in April. And I hope, so this will affect all board members across the state. And I'm really looking forward to this. Kimberly Small really is doing a great job of trying to find out what the needs are of all board members across the state. Thank you. So, we have one department report. Dr.
And Alva,
Attaway.
before we move on, one more thing. I forgot to mention, January 31st, NSSEO.
Sunrise Lake.
The annual Winter Wonderland at Sunrise Lake from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. All board members are invited, families from the district, because we're a member district, are invited, and it's a wonderful chance. Hopefully it's snowy, you get to, do outdoor snowing activities, sledding, go for a little hike, play broom ball, that sort of stuff. So there's little fun activities for everybody. And it's especially good for students and families with children with special needs because the staff is really good at handling the needs of all students. So,
Thank you.
just a reminder.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Dr. Attaway.
Thank you. So I will keep my comments brief. So on the expense side, there are no concerns that we are seeing. Everything is running on track with the previous year's actuals. Everything is running in line with the budget. On the revenue side, this has been a long time coming. But on January 14th, we received an email from Cook County with a draft distribution schedule for the remaining fall tax payments. These distributions will be the first out of their new system, and they are scheduled to run between this week and February 7th. So we did receive distributions yesterday. So I'm hoping that at the February board meeting, I'll be reporting that we have received all of our fall installment tax payments.
So to date, what's the percentage that we've received, that we're estimating we've received?
We're working through that still. So before the distribution we received yesterday, we were somewhere between 60 and 65%.
Okay.
Because we run the Wheeling Township Treasury here, we receive money for all of the treasury districts. And normally, there would be some kind of identifier previously of what money belongs to what schools.
Oh.
That did not happen with these distributions. So we received 24 payments yesterday with no identifying information on what money belonged to whom. I believe that we received about 16 million of the 25 or 30 million that we received. But we're trying to get in touch with the Cook County Treasurer to figure out what money belongs to whom.
Unbelievable. I was looking at the financial statements with the Wheeling Township Treasury, and District 23 looked not good. It was
Was there a
pretty bad. Go ahead.
WJD on one of those checks?
I'm sorry?
Was there a WJD on one of those checks? Because I could help you out.
Wow, that's incredible. So what is there, 6 districts? Oh, Harper College is on there too, the Wheeling Township Treasurer.
Not mixed up with,
with
us, no.
Okay, well, yeah, that's not good news.
Well,
No.
We're sorting through it. And we receive money, we'll figure out what belongs to whom. But hopefully by the middle of February, we will have received everything that's owed to us.
So really, our tax bill is going to be late this time. I can't believe it would be on time.
It will absolutely be late. It went through the General Assembly, so it's actually codified in statute now that this year, the first installment is delayed by a month,
If that's true.
if that's true. It will be at least a month.
Yeah, okay. I won't say anymore. Okay, so we're going to consent, but on 12-1, our first one, I need to read this resolution authorizing preparation and publication of a tentative budget. Whereas pursuant to Section 17.1 of the Illinois Code, the school board shall fix the school district's fiscal year and designate a person or persons to prepare its tentative budget, with such budget to be made conveniently available to the public for inspection for at least 30 days prior to final action thereon. And now therefore be it resolved that Township High School District 214, Cook County, Illinois, as follows. Section 1, that the Board of Education hereby find that the recital contained in the preamble to this resolution is full, true, and correct, and does hereby incorporate it into this resolution for reference. Section 2, the fiscal year of school district shall commence July 1, 2026, and conclude on June 30th, 2027. Section 3, the administration is designated and directed to prepare a tentative budget and make such budget available for public inspection, and to publish notice thereof pursuant to Section 17.1 of the Illinois School Code. Section 4, all other motions and resolutions or parts of motions or resolutions in conflict herewith be and the same are hereby repealed, and this resolution shall be in force and effective immediately and forthwith upon its passage. Section 5, if any section, paragraph, clause, or provision of this resolution shall be held invalid, the invalidity of such section, paragraph, clause, or provision shall not affect any other sections, paragraph, clauses, or provisions of this resolution. I said that word wrong. Section 6, the resolution shall be in force and effect upon its adoption today, dated January 22nd, January 2026. Let's see. Can I have a motion and a second for the consent agenda? Or consent items, excuse me.
So moved, Chung.
Call the roll, please.
Heineman.
Yes.
Yes.
Motion carries.
I have a couple action items here. 13.1.1, motion and a second, please.
So moved, Chung.
Second, Baldino.
Call the roll.
Chung.
Yes.
Baldino.
Yes.
Dustling.
Yes.
Fiorito.
Yes.
Heineman.
Aye.
Sager.
Aye.
Kreutzer.
Thank you. A motion and a second for 13.2.1, please.
So move, Fiorito.
Second.
Mr. Yulee.
Thank you. This is the last board agenda item for summer 2026 construction projects, which is exciting. We're capping a nearly $25 million commitment for summer work. This is in regards to infrastructure in 3 school stadiums, Buffalo Grove, Prospect, and Hersey. Just a quick review. The track in all 3 of these schools are late 90s, early 2000s, so we're looking at a complete overhaul, grinding down the asphalt as well. New asphalt, curbing, fencing around the perimeter of the track. The fencing was in a previous board agenda item a couple of months ago. The turf, all roughly installed around 2011, 2012. Typical lifespan of turf is about 12 years, so we've exceeded some of that life expectancy there, but it is ready for replacement. With that replacement, we're able to repurpose and recycle some of the infill, the rubber coating. Newer technology allows us to lay down, it's called a cool play layer, which reflects more of the sunlight so it doesn't get as hot, which is a nice feature.
Yes.
We are retrofitting our lighting. Poles remain, but the wiring and the heads will be flipped to LED lighting. Estimated savings about 30 to 50% on our utility bill. So that's just it's not a difficult project, but it's a needed project. Also additional capability with those lights, we're able to control those through an app now. You basically get a code and you have to call in to turn on the lights or turn them off. Also, we've had some mice issues, and the Hersey poles chewing the wires up. So infrastructure for sure there. And then lastly, the scoreboards. Buffalo Grove has a new board installed in 2023. The other two schools, Hersey and Prospect, will get new stadium boards. And again, this is really the infrastructure and just the coordination of this, just laying it out. We have to lay new footings and new steel for these scoreboards and then bore for fiber to connect to our press boxes and internet. And so you really have to coordinate all this work together. So now is the time to kind of address this. We can also leverage the power ad agreement that's currently in place. Our multimedia kids then can produce and really leverage those new boards for their needs as well. So we have began coordination on these, but our schools have worked with us to release these stadiums in May. So we've worked with our buildings athletic directors to kind of push some things off to give us an early start. What also is applying pressure is the new IHSA football start date. The most critical component for us, it's all weather dependent, but the asphalt needs a 30-day cure time before we can lay down the track surface. So we really need to get in there. And the buildings have been great, giving us as much time as they can on the front end to create a bigger buffer for weather. So two of the buildings are releasing early May, and I think Prospect is May 15th. So as soon as we're board approved and ready to go, we are leveraging Sourcewell purchasing contracts for this work. We're also utilizing Pepper in a supervision capacity. We will not have site superintendents in those locations, but they will help supervise and coordinate some of this work as we move forward.
You're talking about the lights that like Wheeling has in the
Yes,
stadium.
yes.
Those lights are so cool.
Yes.
Unbelievable. I remember at my park district when they were building the park across the street, they were asking about lights. I said, these lights are so cool, you guys. You're just
Yeah.
going to love them.
I'm glad you brought that up. Like, with the newer lights, we do light studies, and we can really kind of hone in on the areas that we need to light up. Also, with Wheeling, we're, to Goal 3's point, district standard. This is all standardized across the district. So what you see at Wheeling is basically what's going to happen in these other three stadiums. Just the layout of the track, the two different colors, the end zones, the 50-yard line emblems, that is all standardized across the board.
And when you say can hone in on the light, it allows us to be really good neighbors, and it will reduce some of the glare that the neighborhoods feel from our stadiums, which is a really good move.
And we really live that with Buffalo Grove and that second turf field. That was where we learned a lot about the capability of these new systems.
Anyone?
I do. First, I want to say that I like the idea of turning them on and off. I do recall one of my daughter's games where it got dark out because of the cloud conditions, and they didn't have the keys to get up to the press booth to turn the lights on, which was really crazy. But I know this is way late in the game, but the Hersey stands, they're not ADA accessible on the visitor side. I don't know about Prospect and I don't know about Buffalo Grove, but is it too late to even think about doing something like that? Or I guess my other question would be is, do we have to be concerned? Because I know how you educated us on the fact that you had to do the track and the turf at the same time, because if you didn't, you'd be a fool and you'd have to redo the track because you need to have equipment to get to the turf. So that's my question.
And it's a good question. I think it really comes down to budget. I mean, you're looking at probably a $3 to $5 million commitment for new bleachers at one site.
Okay, so you couldn't just put a ramp in, it'd have to be.
So we have ramps at every location now. We add, the last school was Rolling Meadows, which we did recently. So we added the ramp capability, and we do have ADA access.
Okay.
It's the seating that has been, and then we're grandfathered in from that perspective. We have tackled the infrastructure. Now, depending on how things play out, we could go back in and discuss bleachers and press boxes.
Okay.
Prospect is the only one with a newer kind of set of home bleachers and a newer press box.
Right.
But the Prospect would become that new district standard, that layout.
Okay, so my last question for you, Chris, and I thank you for all your answers via email and here tonight. The summer camps, I know at Hersey, it's like a Taylor Swift ticket. If you don't get in right away, you don't get in. And the question I have is, where are these teams going to go to do the summer camps? Do we have a game plan for that?
We do, we're working through that. I think you'll see at least Prospect and Hersey over here at Forest View, outside, inside. And then our other schools are gonna step in and help, just like Buffalo Grove helped with Wheeling when we were doing the project. So we're still going through all of that coordination now. We're in the middle of planning summer camps now. We're still gonna stick with our timeline of being ready to go and roll that out in March.
Okay, thank you, Chris, appreciate it.
Mr. Dessling.
This is probably an unnecessary question, but everything points to starting off and being ready for the football season?
Fall sports, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Dr. Chung.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Yulee. I appreciated how both tonight as well as in your memo, you outlined that this is more than just cosmetic changes. It's necessitated whether by student safety or by infrastructure reaching its, even past its lifespan and all of that, or efficiencies that we're looking to institute, so I appreciate. You mentioned about Power Ad, so we signed our contract with them last year. I don't need a dollar amount, but just in general, how is that going? Because as you mentioned, we can see that expanding to the new school boards at
Yeah, they began their campaign canvassing the communities in the fall, early fall, about September, October. Pat and I have been on a couple calls. They've provided us with a tracking document, so we've seen that they've made roughly 1,000 contacts to this point. We have secured some agreements, and I could provide an update. I don't have the number off the top of my head, but I'm certainly able to provide an update in a Friday letter.
Okay, all right, great, thank you. My second question is actually for you, Dr. Rowe. So I believe at a previous meeting last year, you mentioned that these projects are funded by a spend down of our fund balance, or that was how the monies were earmarked. I just want to say, if my memory is correct, and that is what you said, then that would be a great example of the district. We made that decision last year to move the target fund balance from 50 to 40% in order to use that for some strategic capital project expenses, which is exactly what this is, if I'm remembering it.
That is exactly correct. About a year ago, the board made the decision to reduce the minimum fund balance from 50% to 40% before it triggered certain actions. And in doing so, freed up some funds for us to strategically spend down for capital improvements. And as we adopted this year's budget, the board approved, I believe it was $10 million or so from fund balance to the 60 fund to allow us to use it for capital improvement. Absolutely. So this is a strategic spend down of of a fund balance for our buildings.
Dr.
I guess to
Sager?
go a step further, I would also mention that all of these projects were listed on that original Archon assessment with the grand total that we don't mention anymore.
Yeah, so I just wanted to follow up. First of all, again, I appreciate that this is replacing, at this point, which are very old tracks and fairly old turfs. So they've reached their lifetime, and so this is something that has to be done. It's not a want, it's a need. And I'm just going to always ask the same question. What's the lifetime? Are we going to get 20, 25 years out of these tracks and 15 years out of the turf? Is that what we're looking at?
Yeah, good question. The scoreboard and lights come with 5-year warranties.
5 years.
The projected life expectancy of turf fields have expanded a little bit, 12 to 14 years. Track is really about the maintenance, so just regular maintenance of that. And then sometimes they just need a resurface, which is much more cost-effective versus an overhaul like we're doing. A resurface could range from $200,000 to $300,000, which we might have to do every 10 years or so before the infrastructure starts to fail, which is the asphalt, and those are the issues. You've seen some of those pictures in, the steel and the metal popping up, and so that's our opportunity to address those infrastructure needs as well. And our teams do a really good job maintaining the turf fields as well.
It's like recoding a parking lot every
Correct.
few years, but so you don't have to tear it out. But
Correct.
maintaining it over
Right.
a longer span of.
Our
longer
issue is the
impact.
infrastructure. We got roots coming up, so we have to tear it all down.
Yeah. I had a couple other questions. So the asphalt that's around this, so there's the curb that goes around the exterior. How far does the asphalt extend out?
So the asphalt is underneath the track surface
Oh, underneath the
itself.
track surface.
Right,
Okay, so
we
it's-
have
you
to-
don't see it.
We have to go through that undercutting process again, which we did at Buffalo Grove. And so before we lay down the asphalt, we got to make sure that the ground is stable. Once that's done, they lay the asphalt, and then it has to sit and dry for 30 days.
And as we do that process, we make sure that there's no pooling spots or
Correct.
anything like that
Yep.
on the
Yep.
turf.
And
Okay,
then
so-
once we get the green light, it's the polyurethane spray track surface itself.
Okay, and then I noticed there's this Field Turf Genius that's included. Do you know any, I've sort of researched it a little bit, but my understanding is it's to improve usage and maintenance on the turf fields. Do you care to say?
It's a monitoring instrument. So right now, what we do is, they're called compression tests, and we do them every summer. And basically, it monitors the bounce of the turf itself. And when you get to a certain point, you might have to add more filling to make sure it's safe. And so it's just a mechanism to allow us to kind of track and see the data over time versus just looking at a piece of paper from the test itself.
A way to get a handle on maintenance before it occurs.
Correct.
And then I just want to say the LED lights are wonderful. Instant on, reduce light pollution, they save electricity. They're excellent compared to the old lighting.
Yeah, they're really cool. Okay. Anybody else? Okay, call the roll, please.
Fiorito,
Yes.
Dustling,
Yes.
Baldino,
Yes.
Chung,
Yes.
Heineman,
Aye.
Sager,
Aye.
Kreutzer.
Aye,
Motion carries 7-0.
thank you. Dr. Attaway, I think you're up.
Great, thank you. So this item introduces the preliminary budget guidelines and assumptions for the 26-27 fiscal year. So at this point in the budget cycle, we're not setting final numbers. Instead, we're just starting to establish the principles, parameters, and decision-making framework that will guide the administration's work over the coming months with the budget. So as the memo in your board packet outlines, budget development is a multi-month process. So many of the significant variables like collective bargaining outcomes, since we're negotiating 2 CBAs this spring, insurance renewals, state and federal funding levels, certain contractual costs, all of those have not yet been finalized. And because of that, the purpose of this discussion and this memo really is to ensure we're aligned on how the budget is going to be built rather than what the specific assumptions or the final budget is going to be. So the proposed guiding principles emphasize several key commitments. One is maintaining a balanced budget aligned with the board priorities and district strategic goals. Number 2 is balance levels. Number 3 is aligning and student needs. 4 is prioritize. And then 5 is using recurring revenue, avoiding reliance on one-time solutions. So from a revenue standpoint, property taxes continue to be governed by statutory limitations. Now, one of the factors that we do know going into this budget cycle is CPI. The 2025 final CPI is 2.7%. And that is going to be the maximum increase that we'll receive on all existing property in next year's tax levy. State and federal revenues will be monitored closely as updated guidance becomes available, and then our interest income assumptions are going to reflect our cash flow realities and projections on the state of the economy going into next year. Then on the expenditure side, the guidelines acknowledge ongoing cost pressures, particularly in benefits, transportation, utilities, and special education. Now, none of these current cost pressures are unique to 214, but they do require careful planning to ensure long-term sustainability. Staffing decisions will continue to follow the established calendar and be informed by enrollment projections, program offerings, and funding availability. So as I mentioned earlier, tonight is about making sure we're aligned on the framework and the guardrails rather than reviewing specific numbers. And this gives the administration clear direction as we start building the budget, knowing that many of the underlying assumptions will continue to evolve over the next several months. So as we get better information on things like course offerings, negotiations, insurance, state funding, we'll bring back those specific assumptions to the board as part of the tentative and final budget process in June and then September. So if there are any questions on the memo and the guidelines, I'm happy to answer those.
Board members. Dr. Chung.
Thank you, Dr. Attaway. I had two questions. The first, so as you just stated, it's one of the bullet points was assumptions related to property tax collections will be monitored and adjusted based on guidance from Cook County and other relevant agencies. And I know at our last meeting, we talked about how Cook County's property tax billing cycle has been delayed 3 of the past 4 years. So in forecasting for 2027, what assumptions are we now using, I guess, and we do know a little bit about the spring, about their distribution timing, particularly as it relates to our interest income projections. And I guess this goes along with what you shared last week at the Board of the Cook County Commissioners meeting about the financial hit that we and many other districts faced because of that delay. So I was just wondering.
That's a really good question. So with what we're experiencing with Cook County this year, I'm not sure that we'll need to make any conservative assumptions or reductions to what we're anticipating for property tax income. It's delayed, it turns into a cash flow issue, but we still receive the money within the same fiscal year. So I'm not sure that anything needs to happen there. But your point about the interest income is a really, really good one. We will likely be very conservative on our interest income projections going into next year. We know that we definitely took a hit this year. So we'll likely be looking at our projected actuals for this year and using that to forecast what next year is going to look like.
So just to be that guy and do one of these, not only do we lose $1 million of interest income this year, but we're going to lose the opportunity to have solid interest income next year because of an unreliable property tax disbursement system at a level of government we can't control.
That is correct.
Thank you, that's what I thought.
Yeah, wonderful news. Dr. Sager?
Oh, I had one more question. I'm sorry, President Kreutzer. My second question, so this is under the revenue framework. It states, and you read this, property taxes will continue to represent the district's primary revenue source. So I understand that, but I was hoping to revisit something we very briefly talked about at our last meeting, because I'm concerned, and I know many of us are concerned, with how heavily school districts need to rely on property taxes for our funding. And so we talked about that concept of a penny tax, and I'm just wondering, are there any viable, either county or state level options?
Did you say county tax?
Or county level, like it's not a district decision, it's something at a county level or something at a state level, such as the penny tax or something tourism-based, maybe based on hotels or car rentals, something that could help diversify our revenue and just lessen that burden on our local homeowners and taxpayers.
Yeah, there are counties in the state that implement a tax. Unfortunately, Cook County is not one of them. And I understand that there's no discussion about us getting, this is a few months old, that schools in Cook County would not be, would not have this tax. Do you have any other information on that?
In my prior district, one of the counties that did implement a 1 cent or 1%, I'm not sure which one it is, sales tax is Boone County out where Belvedere, which is a county, a couple of counties beyond where I worked, but I did hear about it, and we investigated it in McHenry County, and my understanding at the time was every school board had to ratify to sign on to it in the entire county for it to get on the ballot. That's 120 school districts in Cook County. If that's accurate, that would be a challenge. I'm happy to investigate it and bring it to maybe this Cook County Property Tax Coalition or our state reps to just talk through what that option may be, but I'd have to do some research. Okay. I'm happy to do that.
And there's some other rural counties, south of I-80, that have implemented the tax but I don't think it's something on their radar at the Cook County Board.
I think
but
your point's well
hopefully it would be.
taken. Something has to be done to
Yeah.
offset the
Yeah.
property tax burden, especially in this area, as they look at, 62% of their property tax bill is us, and at the same time, the burden's real.
Yeah,
It is.
yes. Yeah, and so, thank you so much. Dr. Rowe, and I guess I'm wondering, if you find some viable, realistic option, maybe it's something that we as a board, through IASB, could advocate for. I mean, as individuals as well, but, yeah, I mean, it's something has to change.
Okay, you're up.
So for several of us board members, this is our first time running through the budget cycle completely here at 214. And so I really appreciated this document because it lays out, here's the assumptions that we're going in. Is this new practice, or is this how it's been done in the past, or I was just
I mean,
curious.
it's a pretty, it's how it's been done in the past. Dr. Attaway has added some tweaks to make it his own. And a lot of that really is, there's actually less specificity because we need the flexibility for him to build the budget with wide-ranging assumptions. So that way, we end up with a budget that we can live by and not ever have to deviate from.
Right, so my follow-up would be, what are the major changes compared to prior versions of this?
It's pretty much just what Dr. O mentioned. It's the level of specificity. So in previous years, at least the documents that I looked at, where I was very generic in a lot of the statements and just talked about guardrails and guidelines, there were actual dollars put to some of these assumptions, which in my view, this is very early to do that. There's a lot of information that we don't know, and there's a lot of information that's going to change between now and July. So I struggled to put dollar amounts to this, knowing that anything that I would put in front of the board as a dollar amount or a percentage was likely going to be incorrect in a month. So this turned into more of a generic frameworks conversation, just so we had guiding principles as we were developing the budget, instead of actually setting the real assumptions that are going to inform the budget going forward.
Right, which I appreciated as a framework for me to know where there's future changes that are going to come and not be surprised by them in the future. I appreciate it, thank you.
Mr. Dustling.
It certainly doesn't help to have two tax years that you're dealing with and trying to balance those out. Specifically, when we're coming out of a tax year which has turned into a total disaster in Cook County, and going into next year, I don't anticipate it being any different. I would hope it would be, but to balance those out and get something understandable that can lead the district forward is extremely difficult. So it's greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we have the Freedom of Information Act with this informational item, and we are going back into closed session. And just a note, we will not have any action item when we adjourn from closed session. So I need a motion to go into closed session for the purpose of discussing the superintendent evaluation. Can I have a motion and a second, please?
Motion. Okay.
I heard a motion and a second.
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 Okay, please call the roll.
Question?
Oh, yes.
Is there a discussion item on business services?
There was.
That was
the budget conversation.
That was a budget conversation. Dr. Attaway.
I'm sorry, the freedom of information, I'm sorry.
Oh, freedom, no.
It's just informational, Bill.
Okay, I'd like to say something about that if I might.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
I publicly want to thank Marilyn Graff for what she does, putting these FOIAs together. Not only putting the FOIAs together, but being professionally gracious when sometimes the people don't receive the response they want, even though we're following the FOIA regulations. I just want to thank her. She works on this tremendous amount of time, and I just publicly wanted to thank her.
Ditto, please call the roll.
Baldino,
Yes.
Chung,
Yes.
Dustling,
Yes.
Fiorito,
Yes.
Heineman,
Aye.
Sager,
Aye.
Kreutzer.
Aye,
Motion carries 7-0.
thank you. closed session, and I need
Second.
Heineman,
Aye.
Kitzling,
Yes.
Kreutzer.
We are adjourned.